And welcome back to Sure It'll Be Grand, and it's our continuation of Obi-Wan Kenobi, the TV series. We're on episode 3, which was a bit of a surprise, as I was on my merry travels today, and Kevin out of nowhere went, just so you're aware, they moved the episodes, or maybe they always had this planned, a day earlier. On Wednesday, I was like getting ready to, okay, Thursday, going to watch it really early, you know, and then I can get right into it. And Kevin's just like, yeah, no, it came out today. I went, okay, I'll watch it when I can.
Yeah, I think I looked into it a bit. I think the original plan was that this would be released that the first 2 episodes would be released last Wednesday, and they would have done that release schedule, but it got delayed a few days, but then kept the original schedule, which is confusing.
Yeah, it's confusing to say the least. But yeah, we're on episode 3, which felt like an age, to be honest, since the first episode, because I really enjoyed the first episodes. And look, we're going to get into it anyway, but this episode was not disappointing.
It was not.
No, not at all. Okay. So we'll do a few little talks about what happened.
Yeah.
So I loved the little reference to The Force Awakens when Leia was with Ben or Obi-Wan on the automatic ship that can't be like flown or manipulated. And she goes like, can't you like just like use the Force on it? And he just goes like, that is not how it works. Which reminds me just like the Han Solo. Like, can't you just use the Force? That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
I didn't even pick up on it. I just thought, I took that flat value as a joke.
Yeah. But I definitely was like, oh, okay, I see. There was another moment, and we'll get to that. But yeah, they're on the ship to what used to be a farming planet, which has now been turned into a mining planet.
Yeah, complete mining planet.
Yeah, we get a little bit of a backstory, like Obi-Wan seems to have been here before, and he makes a point that, there used to be many farmers here, the land was full of lush vegetation, but now the Empire is here, and they're trying to destroy it. And this weird thing is, well, it's not weird, because we kind of see in the first episode, Leia makes one saying, but isn't the Empire good? Because the only, thing she knows about the Empire is her family.
Yeah, her they
servants to the Empire. Yeah. I mean, they also worked for the Republic beforehand, but
it might be actually more accurate to say they work within the Empire.
Yeah. They work within the system. I imagine that happened overall, because I mean, the Senate wasn't destroyed or closed down until the beginning of A New Hope. It's a very throwaway line. It's just Vader coming in and says, yes, the Senate is now closed. Haha. And that's the final death knell. So the Senate is still happening, and I believe the Senate's actually going to be showing up in another Star Wars show that's coming out.
Oh, the one Andor.
Andor, yes, the planet where Leia's from. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
No, not that one.
I'll be honest. That sounds like I'm going to be honest. Okay, here's the thing. We said this already, but I like Rogue One. I really like it. I think it's one of my favorite Star Wars movies. But I'd be more looking forward to seeing the political system of Endor rather than follow Andor.
You're fucking up the planets. Endor is the forest moon with the Ewoks.
Oh my god.
Alderaan is Leia's planet.
Alderaan. Oh my, no. Okay, do you know, I just give me the teddy bears. And before someone comes on, I'm aware they are Ewok movies, and I don't need that to be told to me. I'm aware of them, and I won't watch them, alright?
Oh my god. You're going to get nothing but that now. Everyone's going to be like, you want to see the political system on Endor? Well, here you go.
They just eat people.
They do.
They
lot.
eat people and destroy empires. That's
And
their entire thing.
There's horses there too.
And they have a belief system in shiny robots.
Yes.
Yes.
Shiny golden gods.
Yeah. But you can imagine that, if we were like cavemen and suddenly there was like a glowing metal being talking like it's doing a disco dance.
I mean, to be fair, if I was like a little caveman teddy bear and a bunch of like human-shaped people like came around, I'd probably be put off.
Would you? Because
like in general,
both of you are humanoid. I would just look at them as bigger versions of me that happen to be hairless.
Yeah, they're like weird and hairless. Like, I mean, imagine if you will, you're an Ewok and you have those, cruel, soulless eyes. You're hollow inside, and you see this pink, fleshy, tall thing.
Yeah, I suppose.
It's like it's Slenderman, essentially.
Did you ever watch like in the special editions where they edited so that the Ewoks blinked?
I don't want to remember that.
That's terrifying. It literally, it's like a horror movie where like you look at a painting of someone like, and then suddenly it just blinks. It gives you that feel like, oh, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah. Oh no, I don't want to think about Ewoks blinking. I prefer them to be soulless.
Yeah, absolutely. And eating weird rebel chocolate bars. I think that's what she was feeding them.
It was a bar of something.
Yeah. Talking of Leia, let's go back to Leia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, Leia, they're on the planet, and Obi-Wan's kind of describing how this used to be a sound place, everything was great, and now it's not. And they go to a certain coordinates that fake Jedi McJedi on disco cyberpunk planet told them to go to. And no one arrives. And Leia, being Leia, says, well, okay, we have to go anyway, because there's no point in us staying here, even if he lied, whatever. And she flags down a space truck. Just a truck that... Just a
space trucker going about, and he's like, howdy, fellas. I look like a naked mole rat.
Yeah, so what's his name? Is it like Freddy, Frank? I was trying to hear
it. It was like Rick or something. Like Rick, but with a G, I think. I can't remember exactly. I watched it with subtitles because there was a lot of noise when I was watching it. Yeah. But I think it was like Grick.
Grick, yeah.
Grick or Grek or something like that. But he seemed like a fairly nice guy. But
I want to say,
like...
before we continue from that, when Leia comes up with Obi-Wan, and says, oh, he's my father. He's my friend, father. Yeah. And she goes like, come on, say hello. Say hello. He goes like, and I was like, are they going to do it? Are they going to do it? Are they going to make Obi-Wan say hello there?
Please.
Hello. Like, God damn you, Obi-Wan.
Actual cock tease of the meme.
Like, be fun for 2 seconds, all right?
Please. But yeah, Grick seems like a really nice guy. He's like, "Oh, I'll give you a lift to the spaceport. We just have to go this way. It'll take me no time. I'll get you there." And Leia's like, "Thank you," and she runs around and Obi-Wan follows behind her, and he sees he's got like an Empire bumper sticker essentially.
Just
big on the back.
These colors don't run.
And you can just see on his face, he's just like, oh shit.
Yeah. Oh well, we're going on a redneck. No offense to most rednecks. I understand.
Yeah.
It's been hijacked by a bunch of terrible people.
Yeah. So they get in the back of the truck, and they going along. Grick tries to make conversation, and he's like, "Where are you guys from?" And it's like, "Oh, we're from this farming planet." It's like, "Why are you out here?" And it's like, "I was showing Luna was what he named her, or Luma. And I was showing Luma where I met her mother.
Yeah.
And we got a bit lost." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Do you guys you guys are from I think Towel is and the name, or Tala or something.
Yeah.
Was the planet they said." And he's like, "Oh, good folks. They don't make a fuss for the Empire. Good folks there.
Nothing wrong with some order."
You like the Empire? They do good order there?" And they're like, "Yep, love the Empire."
Leia's actually
Empire
kind of
great.
genuinely, she's like, "Yeah, it's grand. Yeah, it's fine."
Yeah. And Obi-Wan's just there like, "Yep, love the Empire. Empire is great. Love serving the Empire.
Yeah.
And then
pick
Grick,
up some troopers.
yeah, like Grick just sees some stormtroopers walking through a field, and he like pulls over and he's like, "Hey, you guys want a lift?"
Here's an interesting thing. He keeps on saying, "Oh, I know those guys. I know those guys." Like, how do you know? How do you know you know those guys?
He just knows he knows. When you know, and he knows. And
like, yeah.
So they get on the back of the truck and they're just sitting there next to Obi-Wan and Leia.
And we'll find out that they're looking for a Jedi.
They're looking for a Jedi. You guys seen any Jedi around here? Don't know. Haven't seen a Jedi.
The guy in obvious Jedi cloak goes, "Nah, man."
No, don't even know what a Jedi would look like, honestly. Don't know why you're asking me.
And they're like, "Oh, okay. So anyway, why is she here?" Oh, Leia. Aha! You didn't say she was Leia. I thought for a second, like, is maybe that Leia's been kidnapped? Is it big news? And then no, he named her something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and then very quick excuse that they seem to believe. I wasn't expecting them to believe it. But very quick excuse. He's like, "Oh, her mother was named Leia. Sometimes I look at her and I think of her mother." It's a nice little scene where he actually looks at her face and it's like he's remembering Padme. A lot of Padme love in this series so far.
Yeah. Do you know there was that whole theory that maybe Obi-Wan and Padme actually had something going secretly behind even Anakin?
I've heard the theory, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of that going on. I do want to say something, right? I missed it. When they were talking about the Force, she says, "What does the Force feel like?" And he said, "It's like turning... Do you know when you're scared at night and you turn on the light and you feel safe? That's what the Force feels like." But here's the thing. He has not used the Force in a long, long time. Which makes me think has he not used the Force to make sure that he is still scared? That he's aware of it? Is that what he's saying? That he's purposely made himself scared by not using the Force, so he's more aware of his surroundings? Like, it doesn't feel safe.
Maybe.
And that I also found it really interesting that he, at the very beginning when he's trying to speak to Qui-Gon again, and he hears all these voices, Anakin is alive and all this kind of stuff. It was very much in his hands were clasped, as if they were in prayer.
Yeah. Which is one of the most, they've referred to the Force as a religion before.
Yeah, it is absolutely.
There was multiple times, but this is probably the most one-to-one religious symbolism we've had with a Force user, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, for memes and that kind of stuff in general, Obi-Wan has always been kind of tied to he looks like Jesus. That's always been there. But that really, I almost feel like, if we want to do some Christian parables, it feels like when Christ went into the garden, and it's almost just what's going on. You have that feeling like he has doubts or worries, and I'm getting a bit of that from Obi-Wan. He has some doubts. There are some Christian sort of vagueness there.
Definitely. I'll say it's quite funny that you said it's like when Christ went into the garden and said, "What's going on here?"
Yeah, he's always just like that. "Sup, lads? What's going on?"
The most casual Christ.
To be fair, bar that fig tree incident, he was a pretty casual sounding dude.
I mean, there was the time in the temple when he just absolutely destroyed an entire market with his bare hands.
He had a decent point.
He had a point, but
he wasn't
about it.
"It's all right, dudes. I'm just gonna make a switch. It's okay. Don't even worry about it."
He could have been like, "Hey guys, what are you doing? This is a temple. Get out!" But no, he was just straight up. He got the axe. He started busting down doors.
He made himself a switch. So he literally got reeds and braided them together like a whip. He made himself a whip, which takes more than a few minutes, by the way. So he literally took a couple hours, make himself a whip, and decided, "I'm going back in the temple." Waka!
Maybe he used his magic powers to make a switch very quickly. But you never know.
I prefer the idea he just went outside and started making one. Yeah.
And his apostles went up to him and were like, "Hey, Jesus, you okay?" It's like, "We'll be in an hour."
Turn their other cheeks. But yeah, by the way, This is not a religious podcast.
No, it's not. We kind of went on a big tirade accidentally, which should be expected because I'm on the podcast.
Yes.
So
but go on.
So Obi-Wan and Leia, they accidentally name drop Leia, but managed to back out of it.
Yeah.
And the stormtroopers, they get off at their stop, and Grick keeps driving them down to a security checkpoint.
And they're like, "Hey, drop us off, huh? Go on, Greg.
Yeah.
Oh, be a buddy." Hey.
With the stealth skills that Obi-Wan has shown in this episode, I'm not sure how he's lasted this many years.
Yeah. Because I love it. It's just like, at no stage he's just decided to either jump off. And to be fair, they were really close up to the point where they couldn't have gone away. You know?
No.
Yeah.
What was your plan?
Yeah.
Did you not think this is an Empire-controlled planet? You've seen stormtroopers around. You're on the truck with the Empire bumper sticker. Did you think that there was no checkpoints? Did you forget checkpoints existed, Obi-Wan, because you work in a fish?
Yeah. But to be fair, that gate was really hard to get by. That he had to really make sure to open it. He didn't just walk around it where there were gaps on both sides. But anyway, let's not get there just yet. So what we have is, we end up at the gate, and we find out that Grick is a bit of a prick. Haha.
Yeah. Wordplay.
Yeah, and he kind of goes over there. I found these people out in the bush, basically, and we thought it might be interesting to you because I am a prick. And yes, you are a pricky prick. And
God damn it, Grick! You couldn't.
Classic prick. And they go on to it and say, "Hey, get off the truck." And I think he says something like to aim guns at him as he's coming off. And Obi-Wan turns to a more uncivilized stage and starts blasting.
Yeah. Absolutely, gunning down stormtroopers.
Yeah,
and his aim has improved from the last episode.
Yeah, he's gotten a lot better with shooting people.
Yeah, in the span of what must have been a few hours. But I'm talking derogatorily. I love this episode.
Yeah.
So they get rid of the stormtroopers, but unfortunately there was a probe that identified him, which sends a message away. And I think we should go talk about the subplot that's been happening up to this point.
Yeah, or the side plot even. Because they do both take up a fairly same amount of space.
Yeah.
We go and see the third sister. What's her name again?
Reva.
Reva. And she's on a sky call with Vader. He's on Mustafar, isn't it? Or
he's Mustafar.
Mustafar. And this is still a relatively youngish, nimble Vader. He is not like the I am 9 foot tall and barely standing Vader. He moves around, he moves his shoulders. We know it's Hayden Christensen inside the armor, which is cool.
Yeah.
Though, I mean, I am assuming on set he acted, but it's still Earl Jones voicing Vader. Though it sounds like a younger Vader. He sounds a little bit more bombastic, and I don't know how to say it, but a bit more reckless in his voice.
Yeah, and I'll give the producers and the creators credit on that. Because James Earl Jones has not sounded young for a while.
Yeah.
So, if they're editing his voice to sound have more vigor in it, they're doing a damn good job. Because I genuinely didn't notice anything wrong with that.
Honestly, I was a bit expecting almost a deepfake thing where they just programmed a bit of software to make any voice sound like him, so that Christian Hayden could do something more than just wear the suit. But again, he is obviously acting on set as well.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where James Earl Jones gets the flippancy from, maybe he's listening to the on-screen recording of Hayden Christensen and saying, "I'm going to enunciate it like this."
Yeah, which if he's doing that, I genuinely think that's great. I'm looking forward to finding it because Disney Plus loves to release the behind the scenes stuff after the series are done. So I would love to see what the behind the scenes on this is.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's like seeing Darth Vader again.
Being put together like a puzzle
but,
as well. Like his legs being more like, because we see a whole scene of like, because the last scene we seen in the last episode was him in his tank. Wait, I'm not even sure if he was in the tank. I think he was just hoisted up in midair.
He was floating in like a liquid or something and having like
Are you sure?
Like I'm fairly certain he was.
Okay.
He was hoisted in a tank. And he's got the like breather on and everything.
Yeah.
But it's so good seeing him like just sitting in his palace on Mustafar, which ties into Rogue One.
Yeah.
Which I think was Rogue One, the last live action appearance of Vader.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
I think, which is a good live action appearance, and I hope that they continue that trend. And given by this episode, they are.
I will say, David, who is a great commenter, actually on Facebook posts on this. I've seen him also talk on different pages. He does make a point that we should be expanding further out from the Skywalker saga. Like, we shouldn't just be focused on that. And Vader is the Skywalker saga, obviously.
Yes.
He is the Skywalker in a way. But at the same time, he also said, like, this makes sense. This is a really cool way to still have Vader involved. And this is a good show in that I don't think we're losing anything from A New Hope. I think we're only building on what we got in the prequel series, between the relationship between Vader and Obi-Wan in this.
Yeah.
But so we see Vader and he's basically saying, look, if you can capture Obi-Wan, you are going to be the Grand Inquisitor. Which implies that the Inquisitor we did see did die.
Yeah. So I'm fairly certain he did, because he didn't appear in this episode at all.
Though I guess there's still room for them. Just have a tank at the end going, aha! Very much like
for the Grand Inquisitor spin-off.
But no, the Boba Fett series did the same thing with one of the characters. So it was like, oh, he is still alive! And we're like,
yeah.
Alright, cool, yeah.
We might need to use him again. But I will say, in regards to the... Because I probably should have said it before, but in regards to the like expanding of the Skywalker saga, this is a series about Obi-Wan Kenobi, and who else is going to be the villain? Like Darth Maul, obvious, but
I suppose the argument is more that we wouldn't have had a Kenobi story. We would have had a story about someone else in the Star Wars universe separated from the Skywalker, which look. I'm not saying that personally, and I know David didn't say the same thing, but I would like more stories set away, because I mean Mandalorian was great, and that's not part of the Skywalker saga at all. Boba Fett to a lesser degree, but like mostly as well separated. Yeah,
like here's the thing, like so far we've gotten like we've gotten 3 Star Wars series set. We're not counting the animated ones here, obviously.
Yeah.
But the live action ones. That's not to say the animated ones are bad, but the live action ones, and we have a 4th one coming. So we have The Mandalorian, which is not connected to Skywalker Saga, with a slight reference at the end.
Yeah.
There's the Book of Boba Fett.
Technically, the Book of Boba Fett has The Mandalorian more connected with Luke as well, but again, it's...
Yeah. Book of Boba Fett is more connected, but is still a story about Boba Fett more than... Skywalker
just in case, I should have said this at the beginning of the podcast, we're going to have spoilers for anything that's came out so far for Star Wars.
We will, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that next time when we start again. Okay, go on.
And Kenobi, which is the one that will be tied, because it's the story of Kenobi between, like, in the middle of the Skywalker, directly in the middle of the Skywalker saga.
He's the glue that's connected just about all the Skywalker sagas together, like, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And like Andor coming out next is not going to be connected to the Skywalker saga, presumably.
Yeah.
So like out of 4 you have 2 or 3
But
that are
okay. But look again, we could say the whole Skywalker saga, it is connected to Skywalker saga, because that's it is connected to the Death Star, and that's a big part of the entire Skywalker story.
No. Andor would be connected to Rogue One, which
Yeah.
is connected to the Death Star stuff. But Andor itself wouldn't be connected to that because that's not the mission for that. The mission,
No.
the
That's
Death
fair,
Star
that's
mission
fair.
was Rogue One.
Yeah, that's fair.
So like that's going. Well, I assume so. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm gonna find out that it's going to be about Cassian Andor getting fucking nappies for Luke or some shit.
I suppose an argument that could be made is it's all still set in the times of the Skywalkers. We haven't had anything set before the original trilogy. We haven't set anything after the sequel trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
It's still set within this relatively short span of time within the Star Wars universe.
Yes. I have heard that they want to make more the woman in charge of Star Wars stuff. She wants to continue with the sequel trilogy characters. She wants to do more stuff with them.
Yeah.
Which if it's better written and has a guiding hand, I could want it. The last 3 were definitely unguided.
Yeah, they were chaotic. Like there were 3 different visions going on throughout all 3 movies. Like
Yeah. So like, that's why I'm really enjoying like watching Kenobi, because it's a series of long episodes that each are like done by the same mind in a like a story it wants to tell, which is probably how Star Wars should be done. I realized that the original trilogy wasn't made with the intention. Like you watch A New Hope, and Luke and Leia were not brother and sister in that movie.
No,
Vader was not Luke's father. Don't let George Lucas lie to you. That was not the plan originally.
No, it wasn't.
Like there's so much stuff in those movies that isn't planned, but like it worked out because it was made by the one guy.
No,
well, not it was made by the two guys. Two guys.
Well, no,
2 guys. Sorry.
No, even further. Lucas's wife at the time, she rewrote most of A New Hope. There were a lot of people involved, and actually, yes, it was one collective vision. But at the time, Lucas wasn't as big of a big cheese as he is now. So people could tell him, no, that's a bad idea. We won't be doing that.
Imagine being able to tell Lucas no.
Yeah.
Whereas, anyway, the prequel trilogy.
Well, the prequels, that wasn't really the case. People went like, oh, we're not going to say no to Lucas.
The prequels are a mess, but in their own way.
Yeah.
And they're a likable mess, but they're a mess. And at least they tell a story from one part to the next. And it is a story. And it's actually one where he intended the path.
Yeah.
To be fair to him, though, or maybe to be less fair to him, the story was already kind of written in the original that it would be about Anakin turning into Darth Vader.
Yeah.
But like, it's a story. It's the story people. It is the story people wanted to know.
Apparently, they wanted to do one movie which would have had just been Anakin being Darth Vader before the suit, like the entire episode, but they just kind of finished 2 and went, shit. We don't have time.
Honestly, I said it in the last episode of this. I love Revenge of the Sith, but by God, that movie holds the weight of what the prequel trilogy delayed doing.
Yeah, there's a lot of like, oh, let's sweep things away quickly. Oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's
like, oh shit, we have to give birth to Luke and Leia, turn Anakin into Darth Vader, have Palpatine be the Emperor.
What do we do, Padme? I don't know, she dies of a broken heart, whatever.
Sure, she dies. It's like, but didn't Leia see her? Fuck. We'll explain it in a Kenobi short series 10 years later.
Oh, but it kind of was already hinted at. Because I want to mention that one thing when Leia looks at Obi-Wan, says, "Are you my real father?" No, I wish. And he goes like, "I wish I were, because you and me and your mother had a secret affair that was never seen on screen." That's what he said.
100 spoilers for the episode, but this line definitely happened.
Yeah, but he just mentioned how he remembered having his original family when he was very young. How he remembers a baby, that he probably had a little brother. He mentions things like that, and I wonder if Leia is going to mention something similar. Because yes, Leia was born and didn't really remember her mother, except being held by her once, I guess. But
Yeah.
Leia is also a very force sensitive child,
Mm-hmm.
so there's a chance that the Force just gave her visions of her mother.
Yeah, which, as far as retcons go, is a good retcon.
Yeah.
Like I have no problems with that. It like clears up the issue. It makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely does.
And you know, it's I don't want to. I don't want to. I remember when people got mad about Leia using the Force in The Last Jedi to fly through space, and I was just sitting there like, I mean, she's Force sensitive. I don't see why she couldn't do that.
She's the bloody daughter of the Chosen One and the
Yeah.
twin of the most famous Jedi of all time.
Are you saying that Luke and Darth Vader couldn't do that? Because Luke and Darth Vader could have done that.
And again, just to make a point for that movie, I know people are mixed feelings in that movie, and I have some mixed feelings, even though I think it's the best of the sequel movies.
Yeah.
But she wasn't conscious. That was the pure Force ability in her just taking over instinctively. So fly away, go that way, save yourself. It wasn't anything more than... It wasn't her going, all right, now I'll use the Force. And I understand the Rise of Skywalker then tried to explain, she actually did study the Force. And I don't mind that part. I was like, that's cool. But I would have had no problem if we found out that Leia didn't study any of the Force, and that was just one of her inherent Force things. Like her being able to sense Luke. Stuff like that we saw in the original trilogy. That's perfectly okay with me. I almost prefer it that way, because it implies that Leia doesn't even need training and she still has that potential and strength in her, And
it would tie into stuff that we already know. With zero training, Anakin was able to use the Force to take part in the deadliest sport on Tatooine, this side of fucking oh god, what's it called? Fighting the the big claw monster.
In Clones.
No, in Jabba's palace.
Oh my god, why did you say this, Kevin, without us being able to name it?
But yeah, Anakin could not TIE fight, could pod race, like a champ because of the Force. Even if Qui-Gon might have been manipulating the odds a bit,
the dice
with the
thing.
Force. Yeah. He did a lot on his own, and Luke probably did Force stuff before being trained. I mean, he
shot a Womp Rat from so many miles away.
Yeah, in a T-16.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Luke, that is a sign of sociopathy. Killing animals is not a cool thing to brag about. But he also he used the Force with a tiniest bit of training. Yeah. He used an X-wing with no targeting system to bomb the Death Star.
Use the Force, Luke.
So if you're telling me that an unconscious Leia couldn't slightly pull herself through space, which has no force exerted on her, that's the problem with space, is there's no force there. Yeah. So she literally, all she needed to do was a light tug in the right direction.
Though I will say, when that first happened, I genuinely thought that maybe Kylo was doing it to her body. He was trying to save her, which would have been cool as well. But no, let's get back to the episode.
Let's talk about Kenobi instead of Star Wars in general.
One thing I would say, the Inquisitors and all that, obviously they were in Rebels, and I'll say this: I think this show feels the most like the animated Star Wars shows in live action. We've had a lot of live action, and I've enjoyed the live action stuff, but this one genuinely feels it's part of that universe.
Yeah. I definitely say that, because it's nice to get the little references, but this is just straight up. This is a thing that was in the animated shows that is come to life now, which gives me hope that we'll see a Darth Maul return.
Did you see that interview where the interviewer said to Hugh McGregor and Hayden Christensen.
You do this every time.
Yeah. and said that she had a crush on Darth Maul, and like Hayden Christensen just had a slight pleasant smile, but his eyes just showed the wariness of a man who has been too connected to the Star Wars world for too long. He's just like, okay, and McGregor was literally like, I'm gonna punch you. What the hell is wrong with you?
God, I mean, if she had a crush on Darth Maul from the animated shows, like when he had a character, that's fine.
Yeah,
I guess that's fine.
I mean, not saying that the actor for Darth Maul is ugly either, but I'm just like,
I'm more so like maybe the devil horns is what it is, because like you see weird shit online all the time, and devil horns are.
Let's be real. We definitely know people, and by people I mean person, who would be interested.
We most certainly do, calling you out, person who probably won't listen to this episode.
But both of us know exactly who it is.
Yes, we do.
Nice inside joke for literally just us. But anyway.
Literally just us, unless they watch the episode.
Yeah.
Better watch it.
Yeah, better watch the podcast.
But yeah, we're not talking about the episode again.
Yeah.
So the Inquisitors catch the trail of Kenobi.
Yeah.
And they after they inform Vader, they all start heading there. So Kenobi, he gets stopped by another Imperial ambushed, a bunch of clone troopers and an officer. And as they're about to be gunned down, the officer guns them all down from behind and reveals that she is the one who they were supposed to meet in the field.
Yeah, does she live in this place, and because she makes a point that she leads people to another planet, and then everyone goes the same way, and that's called the way or the path.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I think she must be an Imperial officer who's stationed here, quote unquote. She might not be
someone working within the system.
Yeah. I will say, this is one of 2 times in the episode when I personally think the locations of people make no sense to me. So she says that she went to the meeting place and they weren't there, and then traveled back to be ahead of them to head them off in a fake ambush.
Yeah.
Which they were fucking booking it then. But this is the lesser of the 2 geographical issues in this episode. I will get to the other, and you know what the other one is if you were paying attention.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, so this traitor woman, I can't remember what her name was, unfortunately, but she tells Kenobi that she's been helping a lot of people and Jedi escape through here to get to other planets.
Interestingly, she brings up a certain Jedi called Quinlan Voss, who showed up in the original CG Star Wars series, Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And he's basically a Jedi that lives in the outskirts of Jedi culture. He's usually off in the far sticks and kind of keeps them away. In a way, he's quite Qui-Gon in the way he connects with the council, in that he doesn't but apparently he's been helping with getting younglings out and anyone who's force sensitive, because that's what the Empire is doing right now. It's not only hunting out Jedi, because I mean, this is the whole thing with fascism, is once you start getting rid of the original enemy, you start try to hunt down enemies like it, because you need an enemy for your people to feel comfortable with. It makes you look like you're doing something.
Which means that once we get around to A New Hope, the Rebel Alliance coming up is actually very beneficial for the Empire in a way. Yeah. Because even it's gone to the point where even Vader's own the people who work for the Empire, who work alongside Vader, don't respect him and consider him a member of a dead religion. Their leader is part of this dead religion, and they don't take it seriously. That's the part we're at in by A New Hope.
Yeah.
So they she shows them the tunnels. There's this this droid who hauls luggage and stuff, and Leia's really nice to him. But just before they're about to escape, Obi-Wan nearly fucking keels over with nausea.
I just
From like,
before you get there, there's actually something more to say. So they talk
okay,
about
go ahead.
they talk about the path in this. And this is like the path to like safe younglings, and they talk about the path, and this is like only when the eyes are closed can you truly see. And we've seen this like Qui-Gon connected, but it seems to be more connected to potentially the Mandalorians. And it's like it's part of the idea of the way. And you think, okay, cool, maybe the Mandalorians are going to show up and maybe they were helping kids escape because they have that whole system where they adopt people into their ways and protect them. I'm sure some Force-sensitive kids, I know the Mandalorians and Jedi have had their history, but I think that's kind of been thrown out the window, especially like with Grogu. He's a youngling and he's just been adopted now.
Well, Grogu's a while away.
Yeah, but I think after the war, this is kind of coming away. But here's the interesting thing: Obi-Wan has connections to Mandalore.
Yeah,
he has fallen in love with someone from Mandalore, Satine, who used to be the queen of Mandalore, at least the free parts. Not the weird death culty ones on their moon. But yeah, so we might end up going to Mandalore. We know it gets destroyed at a certain point. It gets mentioned in the Book of Boba Fett. I think it basically gets glassed, the planet. So that'd be interesting to see.
Does it get glassed by the Death Star, or is it just like
no,
fleet
it just
of Empire?
Yeah, it just gets bombarded too. Fuck.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know when it gets glassed.
Yeah, well,
but
it's before. I think it's before the. It's set. It's set before the Mandalorian, and the Mandalorian is set between the original series and the sequel series.
Yeah, so
it could happen any time around here. Like, we're kind of in the right area here.
Yeah. Well, no. It wouldn't, because Mandalorian, like, this is between the prequel and the original, and the Mandalorian is between the original and the sequel.
Yeah. Okay. I guess anything really post the sacking of the Jedis until sequel series.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm saying. Well, no, what I'm saying is the Mandalorian is set then. So anything that's before the Mandalorian, after like the Clone Wars.
I'm following you. Okay. So, very possible we have some Mandalore connections here. And it would be very interesting to see it. I don't I think Mandalorians have become really popular recently.
I think it's a bit too tight. Like, there's 3 episodes left.
Yeah. Unless they were to bring back a character from the animated series.
Which it very much could, because we see Mandalorians showing up in the Mandalorian series. Like, we see Clone War characters, actually, like CG characters, appearing in live action now.
Honestly, I would quite like if Obi-Wan teamed up with some clones at some point. Yeah. Or even just one clone. I know that he's basically in every series of Star Wars now, but I mean, just make him in every series of Star Wars. Why not?
Well, he has shown up. He has shown up, to be fair.
He has shown up, yeah. But like, give him a clone trooper outfit. He can't be Rex, I don't think, because that messed up the timeline.
Honestly, I'd be more interested with him like showing up with another Jedi, or my wish, which you get very frustrated with when I say it.
I don't get frustrated. I just don't like his chances.
Yeah. Again, Samuel L. Jackson coming back as Mace Windu.
Yeah.
But I think this Quinton thing could be a possibility, or maybe we'll get a Quinton series. I like the idea of maybe having a Star Wars series, or maybe even a vignette, or like just an episode, a collection of episodes of a Jedi that didn't come back when everything was destroyed and was just on the outskirts and now has to like be on the active run? Because I know Obi-Wan's technically on the run, but he was hiding, really. He was out in the desert feeling sorry for himself, saying, Qui-Gon, can you hear me?
Like, honestly, I would love if they did a series of like just one-offs that were set throughout the series, like they did with Visions, the anime one.
Yeah, I love Visions. I thought it was fantastic. I think there's another one is coming. I'm not sure if it's live action or animated, but I think there's something coming there. But yes, let's continue. You were talking about Obi-Wan had a force headache.
Yeah, so basically Obi-Wan, they're about to escape through the tunnels, and Obi-Wan is overcome with this like immense pain in his head. He almost keels over from like nausea or something, and it's the most visceral reaction he's had to being like force sensitive, and it's because Darth Vader has arrived on planet. And like he goes over to the window and he pokes it out, and you get to see all the Empire lining up and the Inquisitors lining up, and you see Darth Vader in all his glory standing there. Like all he has to do is stand there, and he's imposing. But then he doesn't only just stand there. No, he doesn't only just stand there, and he just walks slowly through the town. And with one hand, it feels like he very obviously knows exactly where Obi-Wan is. Because he looks at him.
He is trying to get him out. He's like, he's literally like, come on, you don't like this. Jedi's betray themselves because they can't help but help people. Oh, look at that. I just broke a child's neck.
Yeah, he's yanking people out of their houses with the Force and just holding them in the air to suffocate. He snapped the kid's neck. No, well, I mean, that's why you mentioned it, so I didn't mention it. But yeah, he literally flicks his wrist and then the fucking kid's neck just snaps. And like he starts throwing people around just to bring Obi-Wan out. He's just egging him on.
One like by the neck through the desert, like he's just being pulled along. Like it's brutal.
Like this is a brutal like Obi-Wan or not Obi-Wan. There's a brutal Darth Vader that is just so great to see, because the last time we saw it was in Rogue One, and like that was that hallway.
This is
massacre.
The same thing as a hallway. It's just
this is the hallway massacre, but if it was dragged out and made torturous. Which, by the way, if I'm going to use one word to describe the coming moments of the episode, torturous is how I would describe it, but in the best way possible. So basically, so Obi-Wan tells the Imperial spy and Leia to escape through the tunnels, and he'll buy them time. So he runs away through a quarry as they're running through the tunnels.
Also, I like that there's a moment where the woman shows, I think it was Tara or something like that.
Yeah,
and she shows Leia, I wear my buckled gun on the other side so I can draw it faster. And Leia goes like, "Can you show me?" And there's a part of me that's like, I would love if she was the one that taught Leia how to shoot, because we know Leia knows how to shoot. Literally, like when we get to see her being rescued, she just takes a gun out of fucking hand and you know.
Yeah, I'd love if we get to see Leia just absolutely gunning down some fools, even if she's a child. I don't care.
There's a bloodthirsty murderer underneath those eyes.
There is. But so they're escaping down the tunnel, and Obi-Wan is in the quarry. And there's a scene where like he just kind of stops in his tracks, and like half the screen is black, and it just moves, and it's like you see the wrist just before the red light shines of Vader's lightsaber, and I'm like, oh yes,
yeah. We get a lot of weird desert scenes, as well, with like Obi-Wan trying to escape into like a deserty, hilly area, and Vader's coming behind every dune and hill.
Yeah, Vader is essentially like a horror movie stalker at this point.
Yeah.
And like Obi-Wan does take out his lightsaber for the first time in the series at the end of episode 3. Yeah. He takes out his lightsaber for the first time and is completely on the back foot. Yeah. Vader has him completely outmatched in every way.
Yeah.
And like he tries to put up the best fight he can, but just keeps getting knocked back down. and like absolutely destroyed. And it cuts away back to Leia and Tara running through the tunnels, and Leia tells her to go back and help Obi-Wan, and she'll be able to follow the tunnels and find her way out. And at the same time, we find out that third sister has found the tunnel and that she's going to go down it as well. And I'm going to come back to this because this is an important point because it's the biggest plot hole in the episode, but we'll come back to this. So we head back to the fight between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, and it's barely a fight. It's basically Darth Vader is toying with Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
He lights a fire on the ground and like force pulls Obi-Wan through it to make him feel the pain.
Cool. It's so
perfect.
Now you will suffer.
Oh, it's as close to a perfect Star Wars scene as you can get. Like, oh god, like this is what I mean by torturous. He literally torturing Obi-Wan,
and then he just turns the fire off. He just like. And the fire just goes, and like he's just about to like capture him. It's like, your suffering has only just begun.
And luckily for Obi-Wan, the one who was helping Leia has come back from Tara, and she manages to take out a few stormtroopers and light the fire back up again.
Yes,
and manages to get the.
Yes, let's talk about it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And she gets the loader bot to cart Obi-Wan away.
And Paul, now, why doesn't Vader go over there, Kevin?
Vader doesn't go over there because he doesn't go over there.
Now, here's the thing I have a theory on, because I saw that and I was like, just turn the fire off again. Like, what's your deal? But then I thought, he's probably thinking, I can use Obi-Wan as a path to see what's happening with the rest of these Force sensitives and Jedis. He's probably aware of the path. He's probably aware of all this, but he needs to find some connection, because they make a point that you find the path and you go down that connection and it joins with a hole. You know, it's like a grid system. And if Vader can get to that, it's no bueno.
Yeah. And like on top of that, there is there's this big sense that Vader doesn't really care about killing Obi-Wan. He kind of sees Obi-Wan as this bug that he's going to tear the legs off one at a time. He is only interested in inflicting as much pain as possible on this man.
Death would even be bad, because he's just like, if I just killed him, I will not get the satisfaction. After all the suffering I did because of him, I will not get the satisfaction to just wipe him out.
Yeah. So this is what the conflict is now. Darth Vader is on Obi-Wan's tail.
Yeah. And
that's going to be the conflict going forward. And that's kind of where that side of the story ends. And there's one other part of this plot where Leia reaches the end of the tunnel, and instead of the pilot who's supposed to take them off planet, she finds the third sister. So, how the fuck did she get there before Leia did? How did she not run into fucking Tara on the way back? What?
Yeah.
What is this tunnel?
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd one. See, I know the tunnel was a weird one. I thought definitely the fire with Vader was the big plot hole that you may have mentioned.
No, for me, this tunnel was utterly incomprehensible. I have no idea. That at the beginning they did show that it offshoots in two directions. I thought that meant they ended in different places. I didn't think it meant one was the shorter way, and our heroes, the geniuses that they are, went the long way around. Yeah. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. To be fair, at least Leia is just like, don't trust you. Also, there's a dead body over there. Like,
yeah.
If she just like picked up the dead body and just hid it, Leia might have gone, okay.
I mean, maybe, but she also probably would have seen her dressed in all black, having a lightsaber on her back. Probably not the most trustworthy person in the world.
I mean, she seemed to very much trust this mole rat man.
True, but yeah. Grick taught her a lesson in trust. Don't trust Grick.
Yeah, that's the only... Yeah, I'm thinking back when Grick gets knocked out by Obi-Wan, which is like being like stun hit around the back. I was literally going to watch like Grick say, that doesn't work with me. Because he fell in such an unconvincing way. He's like, Oh, no. Also, was that Seth Rogen? The voice of
Rick?
Rick? Yeah.
Was that Seth Rogen?
I don't know. It sounded like a voice I know.
No, it wouldn't have been Seth Rogen. If it was Seth Rogen, he would have done the that
Look, hold on.
stupid.
I want you to talk about seeing Hayden Christensen in the desert at the beginning of the...
Yes, so near the start of the episode, when they're walking around and they're going through the fields, and Obi-Wan is talking about how he used to see like families and people here. As he's walking through, he looks over and he sees Hayden Christensen as Anakin in his Revenge of the Sith attire.
Now,
staring
the way
back at
I
him.
watched it, obviously on Disney Plus,
Yeah.
I may have not got the clearest image, but I was trying to see, like, is this burnt Anakin or is this Anakin as he was before?
Okay, I saw it with the clear image, and it was Anakin as he was before.
Okay, thank God, because I was kind of hoping throughout the episode. I know he's in a suit, but I do want Hayden Christensen to have.
Yeah, you want him to talk.
I want him to talk. I want to see his face.
Yeah,
and I think it's coming. I think it's going to happen. We're probably going to have an Obi-Wan / Vader fight with, Force Unleashed wise, where like half the helmet is ripped off or something like that.
Either that, or they're going to have a fight, and during the fight, there's going to be like flashes where they're their younger selves.
Yeah. Also, I just checked it. So his name is Freck. First of all,
Freck. Okay,
and voiced by Zach Braff.
Zach Braff, really?
Yeah. So there you go.
Interesting. And not a voice I would have expected in a Star Wars property, but sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is everything that happened in episode 3.
What are your predictions for next week?
Next week, well, Leia has now been captured by the third sister. So there is a time crunch for Obi-Wan, because if Darth Vader gets his hands on her, then they have like a very limited amount of time before he realizes she's his daughter, because as you know, Vader can be in close proximity with her for a very short time and realize it, as we know from A New Hope, where he was in close proximity with her for a very, very, very long period of time and never once picked up on it. I
also like to imagine Leia definitely has met Vader on other opportunities just for political stuff.
Very possibly, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not sure how politically, like how much political stuff Vader does. He doesn't.
He probably was just standing next to the Emperor a lot, going. Brr.
I mean, like, as we know, he doesn't like politicians. And if he had it his way, he'd just kill them all.
But I would say Leia does seem to like give out to him, like in A New Hope, as someone she seems to know.
Honestly, I'd actually kind of like if next episode we got a scene where Leia and Vader were there, and she's just mouthing off to the Lord of the Sith.
Now
Darth
listen
Vader.
to me, young lady. If I was your father...
Well, you're not my father. I want juice.
Yeah.
You're taking your rations and you'll like it.
I think it's fair to say we enjoyed this episode.
Yes, this is a good episode. I really liked it.
Is it weird to you that so many people are complaining about this show?
Yes, it is weird to me. Like, well, actually, it's not weird to me, because people who watch the show are Star Wars fans, and Star Wars fans hate Star Wars.
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of hate towards Arriva, which I think is ridiculous. Because,
like,
here's the thing. Go on.
Yeah, like I said in the last episode, I wasn't a fan of hers, but I didn't hate her.
Here's what I think about Reva, right?
Yeah.
I hate the character insofar as I love how she's portrayed, but she does feel like a vindictive, very powerful brat.
Yes.
There's definitely a bratty nature to her. But but that's a good thing about these characters. This is like Game of Thrones. Like, these are characters that acted so well that we hate them. Like, we're literally like, oh, fuck you so much. There's a part of me that doesn't want a redemption for her. I don't want it to be like, oh, and then she saw the good. No, let her be a bitch.
You want her to, like... Honestly, I could possibly see her dying by Vader's hands.
Oh, yeah. They do a Joffrey on her where she chokes to death.
Yeah. God, imagine like they're on like Vader's Mustafar Palace, which is probably the most underutilized idea currently in the live action Star Wars.
I'll say this: like ever since they've become aware of it, they've been trying to use it a lot. It's just like Rogue One. Hey, look at it! Look at it! It's big. It's all here. And...
Look at it.
And now this one's like, yeah, he just hangs out there when he's not doing anything else. See, he's sitting in his throne, and you can see the lava in the back. All right.
Yeah, look, Vader's Mustafar Palace. Honestly, would it make sense for Obi-Wan to go to Mustafar Palace and fight him? Probably not. Their story on Mustafar kind of ended.
Yeah.
But I could see them doing it.
You know, it'd be a cool place for them to fight.
Where?
Alderaan.
Alderaan would be a cool place for them to fight.
Yeah.
It'd have to be a cool place in Alderaan as well, because Alderaan right now seems like a lot of forests.
Yeah, but like, isn't it like such a cool parallel though? Because last time they fought, it was in desert, and then it'll be in because they didn't fight in this episode.
No, this was like
Obi-Wan was wasting time.
Yeah, this fight could be called a fight in the same way that the Death Star against Alderaan could be considered a fight.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Okay, so say what you want about Reva, even though I think her character's great, really hateable in a good way. And Moses is doing an amazing job acting as her.
Yeah.
But goddamn, Leia's great again.
Yeah. I think that's just going to be the takeaway at the end of this, is that Leia was always great.
Yeah.
Throughout it. Like, if there's one takeaway, it's that Leia was the standout, which is not something you'd expect from watching the Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
No. I will say this. I like that we see some vulnerability to her as well. She's like, I miss home.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact that she was half open that Obi-Wan was her father. Like her natural father, like.
Yeah, her birth father. Which she's not going to find out who her birth parents were by the end of this, which is probably the most gutting thing.
Yeah. She's
going to find out maybe that Obi-Wan knew them. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Did he tell her he knew her mother?
Yes.
Or did
I think Yeah, he did. Yeah, I think he said like twice now.
Yeah, it was right before. Yes.
Yeah.
No, he didn't say it in the last episode, but right before she asked if he was her father, she asked if he knew her mother.
Yeah, yeah.
Because of the look he gave her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly, this episode is great. I'm gonna hold off on ranking all these episodes till the last one comes out.
Yeah, we can do a little bit of an extra add-on when we do the last episode.
Yeah, but I really enjoy this. I really enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed all the series so far.
Yeah.
This episode definitely upped the pace, so I'm expecting either to keep this pace or maybe be a little faster next episode.
I mean, it has to accelerate. Right now we're in the midpoint.
We're right in the midpoint, which, like, if all those people complaining that the first two episodes were slow, that's the first act. We're now in the middle. We're in the second act, which is when the pace starts kicking up. This is our incident has happened. Leia has been kidnapped again. I hope her being kidnapped is not going to be a recurring incident that happens. I hope that, like, throughout the rest of Star Wars, they just don't kidnap Leia anymore. That would be a terrible.
Technically, they do kidnap Leia. Vader does later on.
That is the joke I was going for. They continue. Yes. Yeah, they also do it in Revenge, Return of the Jedi. Yeah. They didn't do it in They did do it in Empire because Lando.
Yeah.
But he did it to the whole crew. So
hey, they didn't do it in the sequel series.
They didn't do it in the sequel series because they killed her twice.
Yeah, they certainly did. Okay. I think we'll leave it there for today.
Yeah.
Unless you have anything to add.
I don't think I do.
Grand. Okay, in that case, folks, I hope you enjoyed that little review. Let us know what you thought of the episode. Tell us all the factual things we definitely got wrong.
Yeah. Tell us how many character and planet names we got wrong.
Yeah.
And tell us that we didn't know what the name of the Rancor was. Yeah, I knew it this whole time.
I came back. Thank God. Yeah. I was like, is it Echor? And like my brain was like, it was in the right family of sounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, let us know. Let us know what you think is coming. Tell us why people are insane and think that Leia is a bad character in this.
Yeah.
You know,
Please do tell us this so we have something to disagree with next time we do one of these.
Yeah. But yeah, folks, look after yourselves and each other, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Asherlo.